Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, everybody. Okay, we're live. So, welcome to the Reglow channel, and we're going to be continuing with this mask today, and I just want to welcome you all into this space and thank you for all of you who are here and engaging in your creative processes. So, yeah, thanks for joining me. And in these processes, I welcome you to look at the guided meditation that's posted in the description below. If it's made for grounding into the pulse of creativity before making anything, and to really feel like embodied. And so something that I'm working on in my practice is, in my creative practice, is being more in tune with my body and how it's feeling throughout all of this. So I'm just gonna take some deep breaths to start. Right, you can see my reflection in the thing. Ooh. This is our rainbow worm friend. All right, and this is Pipple here. And all right, we're gonna get focused. So I'm gonna tilt the camera down so you can kind of see what I'm doing, but I also want you to see Pipple. So yeah. Okay, this is good for now. Hey, Pipple. Just thinking about the life of all of the materials that we're engaging with, and how they want to be, or maybe not how they want to be, but how through a flow of creativity they can be rematerialized into this headpiece mask. I was calling it, I've titled this Grandmother's Velvet Garden. There's two more that have come before this if you want to watch those processes. And we're just knotting the end of this and cutting the thread. So if there's anything in your life that you can think of that you need to cut ties with or let go of, may now be a time for you to release that through that motion. The end is here, and we're making space for something new to emerge that's aligned with your heart, that's aligned with my heart, grandmother's heart, everybody's hearts unfolding through this dance of reality. And so I'm going in these kind of like poetic reflections of maybe some kind of abstract stories. I'm going to kind of flow through these engagements between all the different materials together. And depending on where you're at in your life and how you receive it and the timing of it and where your consciousness might be at in that moment, it's something to illuminate, some kind of illumination that might be recycled back around. In the Reglow channel, that's what we're doing, is like we want to create a space for the emergence of the core of our being to shine through. And even though this material reality, I think it definitely has a relationship with our like core vitality. So that can be a part of the reflection process and part of the story and part of our experience. But part of this process is to really illuminate, maybe to like clear so that something can be illuminated, to cultivate that flow of vitality. And here we have this plastic garlic bag, and I was drinking like garlic and lemon and ginger tea. That was another way I was wanting to nourish that vital flow. I just want to nourish the vital flow of my glow, and I'll flow and glow with pebble in this mask making process. What is the mask that you're wearing? What is it covering up? In all of this too, I wonder about like the necessity for language when all of our other senses can be so potent. All right, in this part, so we have We have grandmothers, gardens, this flower up here, and I also got some plastic bits out that I have in my recycled materials collection. This is number 545309918. All right, everybody, remember that. And we're going to release it from this top part that says 87PJ. So if you need to release 87PJ, the acronyms of that potent hang up, then it's in 2 pieces now, but they're clear. You can see right through them, but they definitely have a shape to them still. Are these like veils or lenses? Oh, these lenses are something. But they definitely need to be removable. Anytime you put a lens on, know that it's removable because the mask will need to be washed at some point. Unless you just hand wash the whole thing. Alright, so what we have now is this binding. But wait. We have some buttons. This power button, I really like the idea of this power button hanging in the middle of the forehead. I think that's a nice place for it. You see? Yeah. Oh, but then again, that will be yet another reason for the mask to become hand washable. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm just seeing if there's anything that I need to attach before I start to bind this. So if you're thinking about some kind of commitment that you want to make, maybe think about, do some reflection on what you might need to do before that. I like that. We also have this power cord. Grandmother loved the iPhone. I like that because it gives it a little horn. It gives it a little antenna. Okay. So there's our direction for now, and we'll see what happens as things progress. Okay. So, with this thread, I take the binding and secure you to the forehead band. My forehead band for all of my foreheads. But Pipple, I thought you only had one head. Not since the power button was added. Since then, Pipple now has 3 additional multi-dimensional heads. At least when they're wearing this mask. So I wonder what that's like, kind of. What is that like, Pipple? Oh, you've reminded me that well, this is somewhat of a stretchy material, so I should be doing somewhat of a zig stitch. So I'm just going to angle the needle as I go through. Yeah, so Pipple, what's it like having 4 heads? When you bind one at a time in the sequential rhythm, and it affords you the pulse a relapse of subjugation, where all 4 heads are subjugated to hearing different things. And while all those aspects might be insightful, it requires a harmonizer. So what part, is there something that can function? What functions as a harmonizer for you here, Pipple? It's something that remembers the time, something that recirculates and vibrates the frequencies, something that embraces. I was going to say binds, but that led me to this feeling of embracing, like wrapping your arms around somebody or something and holding it so dear and tenderly. And I was talking to my friend and voice coach Trinetti, and she was telling me that in all of these times in the current reality is that we really need to learn how to embrace each other deeply. And that's what I'm thinking about now. And so, if you hear a ringing sound, harmonizer. If you experience the harmonizer effect on the astral plane, no, maybe not the astral plane, but any kind of multidimensional plane, depending on where you're at, what do you hear? In Grandmother's Velvet Garden, what do you hear? As you might notice, if you can see what I'm doing, this will be the binding that wraps around. And right now, I'm stitching. It has these folds that fold in on each other once and then in on each other again, and that's what creates the binding. So when I unfold all of them, I stitch one side down first, and then, oh Pipple, yes, we're going over this. Stitch one side, and then this edge is already folded because it was already folded in the binding where it was for not hundreds of years, but for a few decades. It was folded. I would say at least a few decades, because I think this shirt is from the 80s. I almost want to say 90s, but I think it's from the 80s. And I took it apart and I unstitched all of the binding, and now I'm rebinding the same materials in a new way. And as they're taking this new form, would have known? Who would have known that? Well, it is not about knowing. What is not about knowing? Oh, because it's about harmonizing. Harmonizer, harmonizer, harmonize, harmonize, boom, boom. So, as we stitch into this next tangeroo, we're still doing these like angled stitches very slowly as one might stitch so slow in tandem with my thoughts. So slow to the rhythm of the alpha waves. Oh, not the alpha waves, no more alphas. We are everything, we are all. I am you and you are me, but we cannot wear this mask at the same time. It will only be a reflection. Pebble, I was just getting excited that we're kind of getting close here. You know, I might tilt the camera down a little so you could see what I'm doing better. Okay, that's good. So, all in all, when my resources have been squabbly-doo, carrying around bags of or totes of used materials, squabbly-doo. But here we are. What more, Pipple? What more do you see in this character as you feel, as you're feeling and wearing this on your face? Okay, so I'm going to channel for Pipple. That's what I was doing before, in case you didn't know. So when I'm channeling for Pipple, it's like, this is what they gotta say. It feels like you're pulling on my head, but I have no hair. And if you didn't know, my heart is It's everywhere. And you feel it in your heart too. And so all this time you might have been wondering, but that is exactly where this ripple comes from. It comes from me and it goes to you and back again, kind of like a figure eight, only kind of lopsided. Like, not lopsided, but like skewed, because it's not two-dimensional flow. It's multi-dimensional flow. And I'm feeling the multi-dimensional flow. I'm feeling that, you know, even though it was kind of pulling on my head and there are all these pins in me, I know that those are my cosmic antennas, and that it's important for us to feel our way through this together, all of us. And every time you place a pin on me, that's a cosmic antenna. So, okay, what's happening? Let's get this back on your face. Okay. Well, that's looking pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yeah. I take that back, but I can't take it back. I could only try to cancel it out. Okay. I did take some deep breaths. I'm looking over at the plant over here. And the little leaf is uncurling. Many leaves, there's many leaves that are uncurling. Okay. So Pipple, what are you, is a part of you uncurling? You just revealed that your heart is in everything. And yeah, so before I need to make sure that when I'm binding this, it's like there's some space for me to curl it, because to curl the hem so that when I bind it, will be the hem will be enclosed. Like this. You see? This is the binding. That's the binding. That piece. And then this piece that I'm curling, this is the hem that's going all the way under Pipple's chin into the other side of the binding that's wrapping around the top of the head. So we're gonna knot this off. Is there anything that's wrapping around your chin? Your chinny chin? The hairs on your chinny chin? Oh no. That was a mistake. But I can fix it. Not only was it a mistake to say the chinny chin, because what does that even come from? Is that like Goldilocks or something? Or what's the thing that says not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin? I have to look at this. Where does that come from? Where does that come from? I don't know. Oh, the three little pigs. Okay, well, in any case, I remember hearing Nikita Oliver present, and she was talking about, or was it Goldilocks? Don't they both have like a wolf or something in there? Anyways, I would look into stories and social programming that children are taught, and anti-oppression stories. And that, because I feel like those particular children's stories stem from the domestication and the colonial and the agendas that the colonizers had when creating the new world that was built on slavery and stealing other people's lands. And so as we learn about these things more and expand our awareness about them more, we can seek out perhaps then we could learn how to embrace each other more deeply. What do you think, Pipple? We can learn how to listen to each other more deeply and be present with each other more deeply. And that perhaps our interactions would be charged with something that is meaningful and connected. What do you think, Pipple? You think that that it would be charged with a moment of hope, there would be grace in your eyes. But where does grace come from? Does it come from humility, surrendering to something that's greater than me? Something that something like our core vitality, something like the flow. Surrendering to that does not mean surrendering to oppression, because oppression is a very different feeling. It's restrictive and it makes it hard to breathe, and it restricts expression. It restricts vitality, whereas when we're living from our vitality, and emanating that, and taking some deep breaths to feel into the intelligence of my body. I really want to make this sewing as much of a dance and a song and just the juices of my soul as much as I can. And charging all the love in grandmother's garden. Who is your grandmother? What is her name? What is something that you hold so dear from her? Is it your entire existence? Imagine how many grandmothers you have. Imagine how many grandmothers it took to create you. Imagine all the deep breaths they took. What do you remember from your grandmother? Will you put any or all of your grandmothers? Do you want to comment in the chat about them? If you have any stories about them, about being in their garden, whether that's a metaphorical garden of philosophy or of love or just a way of life, or if it's something that was a real garden, a memory in a real garden that you have. If you want to share about it and comment, I would love to hear or read. I would love to share this space for something like that. Something so meaningful that touches on the roots of our entire being. Your entire being. Did you know your grandmother? Did you ever get to meet her or them? Pipple, who is your grandmother? They were a cosmic stardust that landed into the ocean. That got sucked into the Earth's core and then pushed out over millions of years. And then she or they made it to the surface. And they were in the soil. Their minerals got sucked up into the plant. And I was eaten, or they were eaten by a boar, a wild boar. And then pooped out, and then somehow made it to the oil reserve, and then got sucked up and turned into styrofoam. Air popped. She was air popped, along with millions of other grandmothers. And then as I get the eye of the thread through the eye of the needle, I actually have two threads going here, so there's a couple storylines. There's Pipple's storyline, Pipple's lifeline, and then all of Pipple's grandmothers. so many grandmothers. Okay, and so then styrofoam was pressed into this head form, and through a mold, and the mold was a very densely fabricated type of plastic, which came from the other grandmothers, from the other solar systems through millennia. And then they all came together in that moment where your head was when your head was formed, and then Reglow ordered you off the internet, and you came shipped in a box. And then Reglow colored your head with the scales of the rainbow. And those are your internal glands. Well, not your internal glands. Those are your mid-layer glands. And, you know, those glands became that mid layer, and then Reglow covered your head with this old shirt. Made out of cotton and dyes and elastic, with all sorts of other grandmothers in there. And Reglow stitched your ears and stitched the cover, stitched the rippled cover, the rippled cover of your rippled mind. And we see you. And we see all the different grandmothers it took to make you. And it was a lot. Thank you, Pebble. Maybe you could tell us even more details later. Or one day. That was a lot of insight. A lot of history. Of grandmother. what do we do next? Make sure we're stretching. Make sure that our spine has the fluids running through it. Making sure that, what does I feel? How do I feel? Feeling into my body, all parts of my body. Okay. I see what's going on, people. We're gonna stitch this hem. That's what we're gonna do now. Stitch this hem. Okay. And being doom goom ba doom doom go being doom ga ding and doom. Ding ga dang gan ding ga dang gan ding gong 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 gong. Gong 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 gong. Gong 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 gong. Gong 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 gong. Go gong 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 gong. A do 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 do. La 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 la. Okay. Hem. Hem, people. Maybe you have another channel from Pipple as we sew the stitchels. No, just kidding. No, but really, the hem here on the hem of grandmother's garden, the hem that dangles from my chin, the hem that dangles from my chin, the hem, the hem, the hem, the hem, the hem. Are you the hem? Stitching all these ribbings, and the ribbings double ribbed ridge, double ridges, alternating ridges, double alternating ridges. That's like the pathway in the garden, leading to where is it leading to? I don't know. I think that it's maybe leading to the present moment, leading to this space of where you're at right now, where we're at right now. Yes, but what do you see in the garden? Along the path? What do you see around you when you look up? I see the back of a worm's head. Specifically a rainbow worm. I see them reflected through the night of the window. I see the sticks leaning up against the window. So, what is it then? In this reglow space, in this reglow channel? Well, that is something that is the treasure of the garden, which is it's like the fruit of the garden, but it could also be like the petal. It could be like the light reflecting off of the petal or the leaf. Oh, and I just poked my left thumb with the needle. It could be like the thorn that reminds you that you exist, and that is part of the rhythm. It's a part of your energetic rhythm. And so how is it that we heal from our trauma in the present moment? We remember our grandmothers and our grandfathers and our grand beings, including all of the plants and the soils and the suns and the dust and the cosmos. And we find our way back to the center of our sun, the center of our vitality, that is in the present, always. We find that, and we breathe. And it fills every crevice of our being. And as we imagine it alchemizing, then that is what our consciousness, the process that our consciousness reveals to us. Through the journey. And not just our individual consciousness, but our collective consciousness. As we reveal ourselves to ourselves and acknowledge ourselves and hear ourselves as each other, as ourselves. we are present with that. And then might we dance? And then might our stitches stitch the hems of our masks. Breathing into our lower spine. How are you feeling, Pipple? Feeling like the waves of consciousness are rippling round and round through this hem that will drape from my hem, from my chin, from my hem, from my chin, creating the foliage on the mirror when I look into it, or the mirror that you see when you see me, the mirror of perception. I think of projections. I think of the shadow of projections, and I feel that shadow being cleared. It is an empty cascade that has a place to go. In relationship with the light source. And the light source of your mind that might seek to rationalize what came before now. It might create a map. The story of how you got here to this present moment. The story of everything that led you here. including the map of the future and where you're headed. Including the map of the future of where you don't want to head. Are those different maps? Or are they the same map? You can choose the map. As it frames your past, it also frames the future, because it is all existing within the present moment right now. And so, what will you do? How will you create this map? Where will you find the new map that doesn't include what you don't want, that only includes what you do? We find it here in the present moment. With every stitch we take, every thought that we think is generating that map. And with focus, we can delete. Not delete. With focus, we can recreate, we can reformulate new maps, even from the old, with our perception, based on what we're focusing on. And with practice, we can choose what we're focusing on and where our attention goes. We can dedicate ourselves to that. Now, who is we? Me and Pipple, anyone watching this, anyone willing to do that. We as in the collective consciousness. The importance here is clearing the shadow. Shadow can be empty. The shadow can hold space for what we let go of as it dissolves. As we acknowledge it dissolving, as we acknowledge it being there, when we face it. also want to think about the element of fire and processing. The element of fire is the element of transformation. If you were to light a candle and light of something for something that you love, that your heart speaks. And then something that you might want to release. Not in the vein that the past didn't happen, but in the vein that it did happen and it got you here, and now you're in the present and you're not there in the past. And it doesn't have to have power in the present. And so you can imagine the feeling of it being in the present burning away, so that all that's left is you in the present. Or I can do that. People could do that. As long as we stay grounded, because our thoughts are powerful. And as we near the end of this hymn, I think that we're going to take some time to move in our body. This is a slow process. Hemming chin hem, the honor of hemming the chin hem. What a delight. How are you feeling, Pipple? Are you feeling rippled? Are you feeling like the sky is falling yet? No, 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 no. We're feeling connected to the rhythm of our heart. In your heart, as you watch this, as you tune into your own heart and our heart, as we remember all the many forms of our grandmothers, as we feel that we are them too, so we are made of them. We are made of their stories, their pain and their trauma and their love. We carry that. And as we release the pain, we create space for something new to emerge from the cosmic intelligence, something of wonder, something that has the seed of healing. And we can water that with our thoughts. Because after the fire, after all of the dust settles, yes, Pipple? Then we release, and then we can water. Or the rain can water. But our emotions and our love and our release, that leads to a water. As above, so below. As we cleanse this plane, of our pain, and that makes me think of honoring that pain. How can we release the pain while still honoring it? Do you have any ideas, Pipple? You can honor it through your actions of honoring your existence and the feeling of where you're at now, and all of the grandmothers that brought you to this place now to experience the euphoria of love in each other. We have now a new flower, another flower to add. That was found. Ooh.